Hello everyone, I'm Sylvia Barella, Chief Executive Officer for the Santa Fe Recovery Center. I want to welcome everyone to the 2021 Santa Fe Rally for Recovery. Santa Fe Recovery Center is honored to present the rally. This is the 8th annual rally here in Santa Fe. And we want to recognize and thank Recovery Santa Fe for founding this event and growing it as much as they have. And now that these two organizations have merged, the Santa Fe Recovery Center is excited to continue the annual tradition of the Recovery Rally. The Santa Fe Rally for Recovery is part of a national recovery event held in September, and it's a celebration that's part of events being held around the nation and throughout the state. For our celebration, we'll be hearing recovery stories, meeting certified peer support workers, learning about community service providers, seeing how facility dogs and art therapy can aid in recovery, and you'll also be able to join in a meditation class. And you can chat online with people from various local organizations to ask questions and learn more. Thank you so much for joining us in celebrating, recognizing, and honoring Santa Feans in recovery. We hope you'll learn something new and have fun and be able to relax. The biggest thing we want you to take away from today's festivities is that we honor our friends, neighbors, and family who are walking their recovery path, and we are here to help support them with every step they take.
Hello everyone, my name is Jesus Relas. I work for the Santa Fe Recovery Center. I was put in charge of getting all the CPSWs together and doing a short little video. This year we're doing a virtual rally. But the years before we've had it actually behind us, which was a great event for people to come out and collect resources, get together and just enjoy a day in recovery.
September is Recovery Month, and we're so happy that we can celebrate with our fellows in the state of New Mexico and across the nation via video, virtual, or in-person functions. We look forward to doing this on a yearly basis, and hopefully within the next year or so we can all meet again in person and be able to do this together.
Hi everybody, Mayor Alan Weber, Councilor Signe Lindell, here to join together to read a proclamation in honor of Recovery Day. Let me start.
Start off, Mayor,
I will
please.
start. We'll do this together. We are both in it together. Here we go. Proclamation of the City of Santa Fe. Whereas September is National Recovery Month, when our federal government promotes the societal benefits of prevention, treatment, and recovery from alcohol and drug use disorders. And
whereas the 2021 National Recovery Month theme, recovery is for everyone, every person, every family, every community, reminds us people in recovery and those who support them that no one is alone in the journey through recovery. And
whereas over 10,000 Santa Feans are in recovery from alcohol and drug use disorders and have made a lifelong commitment to not using alcohol or drugs, and
therefore, their contributions make our families, businesses, and communities stronger. And
whereas their acknowledged success is a beacon of hope to those still suffering who need our support and our compassion. And
whereas everyone in our community is asked to acknowledge, respect, and celebrate our fellow Santa Feans in recovery, to redouble our efforts to help those still suffering from alcohol and drug disorders, and to join together in celebrating this day.
Now, therefore, I, Alan M. Weber, Mayor of the City of Santa Fe, New Mexico, do hereby proclaim Saturday, September 25th, 2021 as Recovery Day. Congratulations, everybody. Keep up the good work. Keep helping each other. We're all in this together.
Keep coming back.
Thank you, Counselor.
Good afternoon. Senator Ben Ray Lujan here. It's an honor to share a few words for the annual Santa Fe Rally for Recovery, an important event to recognize New Mexicans in recovery and reduce the stigma surrounding recovery and addiction while bringing the community together. September is National Recovery Month, and I'm honored to be leading the Honoring National Recovery Month Act to provide a dedicated funding stream to support National Recovery Month activities. In New Mexico and across the country, addiction is a painful disease that is personal for many of us. But let me be clear, there is no shame in seeking help. Every person who has sought out help or is in recovery is incredibly brave. Today is a time to celebrate all of you. As New Mexicans, we have always been united by shared and enduring support for our neighbors. That is especially true today. Once again, thank you for inviting me to share a few words this afternoon. Thank you.
The Santa Fe Recovery Center has the mission of providing services for clients all over the state that are struggling with addictions and recovery. We have a broad array of treatment programs that cover most of the spectrum of care. We have medical detox facilities both here in Santa Fe as well as in Gallup. We have 30-day residential for men's and a 30-day residential for women's and a 30-day co-ed residential in Gallup as well. We also have extended programs for men and women here that take the treatment out to 90 days total. And then we have bridge house or sober living homes after that that a person can be in up to 8 months following a 30 or 90-day treatment. We also have outpatient services that are able to do telehealth throughout the state. Santa Fe Recovery Center started as a small residential treatment center for men and women here in Santa Fe. And Sylvia Barella, who's been with the company for a long time, really started to see that it was needed to have a continuum of care so that we could, we were putting clients through a 30-day treatment and essentially discharging them without a ton of resources or supports. And so we started with extended programming and outpatient and managed to get some houses that we could use for sober living. And the goal has been all along to kind of broaden our ability to give people supports in early recovery. And to that note, we started detox facilities here in Santa Fe as well as in Gallup, just noticing the need for those services. And I think we're always looking for ways to improve connecting with the community, connecting with our clients, and responding to their needs and what works for them in their recovery. We obviously try to maintain a very good relationship with the recovery community here in Santa Fe, but in other communities we're involved with. Our primary goal is to try to get our clients sober and on the road to recovery, and then support them as long and as far as we can reach in doing that.
Hello, I'm Dr. Neil Bowen, the Director of the Behavioral Health Services Division in the Human Services Department for New Mexico. And I want to really thank you all for allowing me to share some of this recovery celebration with you. And especially I want to thank the people from Santa Fe Recovery Center. When I work with Sylvia Barella and other members of Santa Fe Recovery Center, I always feel like they are the perfect description of service to the community and to the people that we serve throughout the state. They always step up when we ask them to, and they always do a really phenomenal job. So it's a real honor to be here at their request. I'm also pleased to be joining folks from the recovery community itself. It's one of the most inspiring groups of people that I know and I have the pleasure of interacting with from time to time, because there is this incredible sense of we take care of one another and we really care about one another that comes with the recovery community. I know that recovery is one of the areas along the spectrum from prevention to treatment to recovery that doesn't get quite enough attention in terms of financial support and in terms of programmatic support. And that's certainly something that we're interested in helping to improve as time goes forward. And I'm very grateful to the many, many wellness centers that are run by peers around the state for their perseverance and their creativity in making those centers continually available to people, even through the course of this horrific pandemic that we've been dealing with. As I was thinking about Recovery Days, I went to the SAMHSA website on recovery services and noted that they have a phrase that says, "Hope is the foundation of recovery." And I'm certain that there is truth in that. I know that many times as a therapist, as a psychologist, I made a pact with the people that I was working with in their darkest days that I would hold hope for them until they were capable of carrying hope for themselves. And that seemed to work well. It also reminded me of Václav Havel, the Czech writer, who described the difference between optimism and hope. He said, optimism is doing something because you expect to have a good outcome. And hope is doing something because you know it's the right thing to do, regardless of the outcome. And I think that's the kind of hope that is the foundation of recovery, because it's a complex itinerary, it's a complex path to walk and difficult, and at any given point, you don't know what's coming next. But that hope works, and recovery is possible and sustainable, of course. I'm aware of the many, many, many paths to recovery, from the depths of dealing with serious mental illness or of substance use disorders. There are many paths to recovery, and the path that worked for you is the right path for you. I also know that the research shows us that many, many people look for assistance for their substance use or for their serious mental illness multiple times before they find the path that works for them for recovery. So one of my responsibilities, and one of the responsibilities of the Behavioral Services Division, is to try to reduce the number of attempts it takes to get effective care. And we do that in part by trying to support and promote quality services. And again, the Santa Fe Recovery Center is a great example of quality services. So one of the things we're investing in is supporting the development of evidence-based services for everyone who needs assistance, and providing them that high quality service when they come in. And we are responsible, we have that fiduciary responsibility to you and to all of your neighbors to try to make sure that we spend the state's resources appropriately to deliver that kind of services. One of the ways we're doing that, of course, one of the evidence-based services now is that of certified peer support specialists, which have this remarkable ability to walk with people along the path toward recovery and celebrate with them as they make significant milestones, and including reaching sustained recovery. Peers have this amazing ability to expand the behavioral health workforce and expand the availability of effective services, which I value greatly. And I'm very grateful to Milicia Montaño and other folks at the Office of Peer Recovery and Engagement within BHSD who work so hard and tirelessly. Don't think about a work day, they think about the work to do and the way to support the community and our neighbors. I do want to spend just a moment talking about another project which does touch on recovery but is not directly related, that we're working on very hard. Many of you will know that as of July of next year, so July 16th of 2022, there will be a new number to call for all types of behavioral health crises. It'll be 988. That'll be the number to call for behavioral health crises rather than 911, or a 10-digit crisis line number of whatever kind. And here in New Mexico right now, we're planning the rollout and the development of a new system of dealing with behavioral health crisis, which is a predictable part of serious mental illness and of substance use disorders. And so we should have a viable and well thought out system of care for people as they go into crisis that connects them to those ongoing services that helps them move along that path to recovery. To make sure that we're building that in an appropriate way, we're looking for the voices of people who have used the crisis system as it is to understand what worked about that, and also to understand what didn't work about that and what they see as the appropriate system of care. So we've reached out, we've had people, we have a specific working group listening to the voices of specific communities, including people in recovery. And there are online resources for people to participate in giving us their experience and telling us what they think that new crisis system should be. So if any of you are moved to help us with that, I would be very grateful to you indeed. Thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and to celebrate recovery with you. I want to give you particular congratulations on your own recovery, if that's what brings you to Recovery Day, or on the recovery of people you care about and know about, if that's what brings you here. It's a community effort to celebrate recovery for everyone, and I really appreciate you being here and the work you do. I also want to congratulate you because I know, even without knowing each of you individually, that part of what you do in your recovery is you create conditions for other people to reach recovery. And that is an extremely valuable service to all of our neighbors and all of our communities. And I thank you so much for that. And I also want to thank you for truly caring about your neighbors. I know there's a lot of rhetoric these days about us being a divided country. But in terms of helping people achieve that meaningful and satisfying life that all of us deserve, there is nothing like the recovery community to embody unity and support and caring for all of our neighbors and all of our communities. So thank you so very much, and I'm so honored to be with you today.
Hello, my name is Nathan Lawson. I'm a New Mexico certified peer support worker and a person in long-term recovery. And what that means for me is that for the past 7 years, I have not had to use drugs or alcohol to maintain my everyday life. Which is truly a miracle for a person like me. I'm a New Mexico certified peer support worker, and I'm with the Office of Peer Recovery and Engagement. My role is I am the training coordinator. I work closely with Melissa Montano, the program manager. Some of my duties as a training coordinator are to vet participants for the 5-day, 40-hour CPSW training that we provide. I've been a New Mexico certified peer support worker for almost 4 years now. And really, these last 4 years, the experience that I've had as a certified peer support worker helping individuals in early recovery and providing recovery support has been truly a miracle, and it's been such a great experience.
I am a walking miracle, and because of my lived experience, I get to share my recovery with the state of New Mexico and the amazing certified peer support workers in the state. What the OPRI program has done for me is that it has empowered me to lead the peers in the state of New Mexico with grace and dignity. Let me tell you a little bit about our program. Our program consists of a 40-hour peer training that is focused on the fundamentals of peer support. And what that is that you have to have 3 years of demonstrable recovery from either mental wellness or substance use disorder. We get to work, and I say that with wholeheartedly, that peers in the state of New Mexico get to work at behavioral health agencies with this credential. Patrick, and what is your role at the Office of Peer Recovery and Engagement?
Over at Office of Peer Recovery and Engagement, I'm the administrative assistant, and I'm the first one that people get on the phone when they're calling to talk to someone about the program or needing assistance to renew their certification.
So do you guys think it's just pretty awesome, the stories that we get to hear while we are vetting our folks? Sitting here today and getting to meet a couple of the peers that we have actually vetted and are credentialed and are back in the field doing their best work. Do you remember when we heard the stories of how they got here? Wasn't it the most amazing experience?
Most definitely. I remember, constantly calling the program manager every week and asking him, hey man, when am I going to get into training, And before becoming a CPSW, I really never knew that there was a workforce or, a path that I can take in the workforce, to help people recover and get paid while doing it, I remember my dad always told me to pick a career that you never need a vacation from, right? And as a CPSW, I feel that I have found that, it's really good, to give back to my community, right? And every client that I have the ability to help and, anybody that I have the ability to share recovery with, is truly a miracle, right? And it like you said, it's a blessing that we get to experience this.
Patrick, what does your credential mean to you?
For me, it gives back to the community that helped me in time of crisis. You know, I'm in recovery from depression and PTSD, and I felt alone, but I'm able to give back and show people that, hey, I've been there. I know what it's like. I'm here to extend my hand and make sure you won't go through this alone.
Well, if you are in recovery, great. We commend you and we support you. But when you make the decision to apply at OPRI and to go through a training of this intensity, and we suggest that you do have a program of your own, you know, so that you can come and so that you can focus, especially if you're going to be working in a behavioral health agency. Self-care is the most important thing for a peer, not just in early recovery, but personally, my program consists of constant contact with my supports, my natural supports. And for the peer that is looking to apply at OPRI, we would recommend that you come wholeheartedly and that your program is yours so that you can give back. Because for me, I know in early recovery, what I had was not, you know, it was, should I say, I needed to prepare myself before I came to OPRI. And now that I am here, we suggest the same for the peers that are wanting to apply.
I also learned through the work that I did early on in recovery and you know, even in the middle and to this day, is that my secrets keep me sick, right? I'm only as sick as my darkest secret, right? And through the journey of recovery and through this process, I have really learned not to keep those secrets to myself, you know? The last 7 years, every struggle I've been through, I have not been alone, right? And that's something different for me, right? Because before I came into recovery, every struggle I went through, I took on as my own, right? And I never let nobody else know that I was struggling and that it was hard for me or, you know, whatever I may have been experiencing at that time, right? So those are two very important things for me, right? Not picking up and always having a support network and somebody that I can tell my secrets to. What about you, Patrick?
Yeah, making peace with my PTSD, you know, it's not going to go away with the snap of the fingers. I have to accept that, you know, it's part of my journey of recovery. And it's okay to ask for help. And if a PTSD attacks, know how to ground myself and reach out if I need assistance. Because recovery is part of being involved in the process of helping others. But you have to help that most important person, yourself. If you can't help yourself, you can't help others. You have to be selfish, and then you can be selfless.
Right. The beauty of peer support work for me, and the bottom line, is that it's voluntary, that we're not alone, that we give back what was so freely given to us, and that we keep it simple. It is person-led, and we don't diagnose. We really have the best gift in the world, and that's the power of mental wellness being intact and our sobriety being the best thing that ever happened to us.
Man, to add to that too, right, is like the value of a CPSW in a mental health or a treatment facility, right? And in my opinion, just to tag along with what you had to say, is that I feel that a CPSW brings to an agency organization hope, right? The fact that there are so many people out there right now that do not think recovery is possible. That there are people out there right now involved with gangs, involved with drugs, you know, experiencing PTSD undiagnosed, anxiety undiagnosed, without support, right? That is what we get to give back, right? We get to go back into those flames, and we get to go back in after, you know, making ourselves well and getting well ourselves, and we get to pull those other people out of the flames, right?
Yep.
And that is just so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are those liaisons for clinical staff. We get to hear stories that they would not even dream of telling their therapist or a psychiatrist, just because we have that lived experience, and we can hear those stories without judgment to those people. And it's a great feeling to actually be able to say, I trust you. Can you please tell me more on what you did? I want to be in recovery. It warms your heart.
And another key point is that when we do get these jobs at behavioral health agencies, that we keep them. And it's only, and for to sit at a table like we're doing today with a clinical director, psychologists, therapists, social workers, and they are asking us today, what do you think a peer needs at a behavioral health agency, is key, because our voice matters, only because what we bring to the table is real.
I was involved in some drug treatment, right? And the therapists and the counselors wanted me to do something, right? They were telling me to do something that I didn't want to do, right? That I didn't feel comfortable with doing, and that I felt wouldn't have been, good for my recovery, right? And there was somebody around me, right? It wasn't a peer support worker, but it was a peer in recovery, right? Somebody who had a few years under their belt, right? And I was telling them about it, right? And the most magical thing happened. They looked at me and they said, Nathan, what would it sound like for you to tell them what you just told me, right? And for so many years in my life, man, I had judges, I had cops, I had my family members, I had everybody telling me that I had a problem and that I needed help, right? And I was just doing what everybody was telling me to do, but at that moment, when that person told me, Nathan, what would it sound like if you told them that you don't want to do it, right? And I thought to myself, and I told them what it would sound like, and we did some role playing, right? And then I had enough courage to go tell them, hey man, I don't really feel comfortable with doing that, And that moment is the moment when I owned my recovery. I made that recovery mine, right? Because then I was able to make my own decisions, right? I was making a decision that was healthy for me, and somebody wasn't telling me to do it, right?
Right, and it was somebody that looked like us, talked like us, had been through the similar situations as us. Nathan just mentioned jails and institutions, big part of my story, but now sitting at the state level and even getting encouragement from the program manager before me that we deserve interviews, that we can sit at interviews, that we are professional, and that we can get paid professionally for our services that we bring to the table. I'm proud to be a program manager. I'm proud to be a woman in long-term recovery. My credential as a CPSW is my life, and I protect that like if it was just a license that a social worker has or a psychologist. If you're a person out there needing help, either with your mental wellness or substance misuse, please reach out. There are resources in the state of New Mexico. If you have a care coordinator with a MCO, please let them know. If you need help and you cannot get the resources, please call us at 505-470-3311, and we will point you in the direction of someone who can help you.
And to add to the resources that Militia was sharing, there are crisis triage centers statewide. They're starting to expand to more locations. Crisis Triage Center is a great place to start if you're experiencing crisis, or if anyone you know is experiencing crisis. Also, the New Mexico Crisis Line is a great resource. They're available 24/7 for anybody that's experiencing crisis or needs resources for treatment or mental wellness.
I'm going to say the same thing my dad told me when I started college. I actually went to college to get my associates in computer information systems and work on computers. And he told me the very day I moved out of the house, you have my permission to change your mind. And that's what I've done. And I give you, my peers, my brothers and sisters that are looking at recovery journey with us, it's okay to change your mind and become a peer support worker. Nothing is wrong with you. It's a beautiful journey, and we're here to support you, not just in the beginning, but in between. We love you.
And we need to always say, si se puede, recovery rocks, and recovery is possible.
So my name's Matilda, and I've been in recovery for 7 years. I'm a certified peer support worker, and I'm also an advocate for survivors of domestic violence. I decided to support the Rally for Recovery this year by being part of this video, and just showing how important it is. I think that one of the things that made the biggest difference for me in recovery was seeing people further down their recovery road, seeing people 2 years ahead, 5 years ahead, people that had made such a mess of their lives come back out of that, and looking at those points. And so I really feel like that part for me is important to relay that message to people in early recovery, people thinking about being in recovery, people that that think that there's no hope. It's really having those focal points of success stories is important. And oftentimes people get in recovery, they get better, and they just they live their lives and they kind of forget the recovery part just because it's also painful for them. But to model that success, I think, is one of the things that's really beneficial. So here I am.
So if you're struggling with alcohol, drug abuse, or mental wellness, please know that you're not alone. Also, please know that you deserve this. This doesn't happen overnight. It's a process. Natural supports, 12-step programs, a higher power, whatever that looks like for you, CPSWs do help, and your recovery is your recovery. We are here to support you in your journey, and do not beat yourself up any longer, because you deserve this, and you deserve to live a free life, free from any mind-altering or traumas that have held you. And the fires that Nathan talked about early on, we will go back in there and pull you out with more buckets of water. We need more people in recovery to keep on keeping on. But you're not to blame. It's a disease, and we're here for you.
Modeling the success and the positive aspects of people in recovery is huge for me, because they're really the coolest people I've ever met. Like that's just the truth. Like I meet people that have never had substance abuse issues, and I just don't get along with them as well. Like they're just not as cool. Like for me personally, people recovering with substance abuse issues have a lot of input and beneficial qualities that make this society way better. So that's a huge push for recovery, is just getting rid of that stigma of what a drug addict is, of what recovery is, of how it's like, I don't know exactly how to explain it, but you can feel it, and I feel like we need to create a pushback of information and compassion.
My name is Michelle Williams. I'm the program manager here for the Santa Fe Recovery Center at the Women's Facility. The Santa Fe Recovery Center is an alcohol and drug rehabilitation center. Here we are outside of our counselor building. This is where we hold our group rooms and our counselor offices here for individual sessions with our clients. Come on inside. This is our counselor building. I'm going to show you one of our group rooms right now where we have one of the classes that take place. This is our art therapy room. This is where our art therapists do some specified groups in here. So one of the things that we recognize when we get our facility dog is the importance of allowing the dog to have some downtime and some exercise capability. So behind the camera here, we do have an area that we'll be able to allow our facility dog to roam around and get a little bit of exercise. So this is one of our therapy rooms here, and this will be one of the areas that our facility dog will actually be at work. They'll be interacting with a therapist and a client in a space similar to this. So this is our cafeteria area. Our clients get 3 meals a day in this space. They also do their daily intentions and some other various group classes in this area. This is a common meeting area where we anticipate the facility dog will be able to really interact with some of our clients in a pretty comfortable setting over here. So here we are in my office. This is also going to be the staging area for our facility dog, and anytime that we have any downtime or extra moments to decompress, this will be a space where he or she will be able to reset for our next group class. So here's our newly completed playground with the shade area over top of it. And our kiddos here with their moms in recovery spend an awful lot of time at the playground center. So we're excited our facility dog is going to be able to hang out with some of our kiddos here as well, and support them in their treatment while they go through play therapy and other classes. So right now we're in the child care building here at the women's facility. And in this building we have a few art therapy classes and play therapy classes that take place. We get some help from our community partners in Las Cumbres to be able to facilitate those classes. We also have down the hallway here, we also have a nap room for our kiddos to take a break from the day and do nap time. We also have our playroom over here where we also do a child care curriculum as well with our child care specialists so that we can help continue the education and development of the children in our facility. So here at the Santa Fe Women's Recovery Center, we're going to be excited to have a facility dog at our property here just because we know that some of our clients are ashamed to be in treatment. They know that humans judge them profoundly and that we know that animals won't give that kind of shame and judgment. So we're really excited to add a new staff member to our facility from the Assistance Dogs of the West and have a facility dog here to be able to support our clients as they transition into recovery.
What areas of the center would the dog work?
Our facility dog would be in every aspect of the center. So we have a dormitory type setting where the clients would live, and then we have our main clinical building where they would be in a group room or see their therapist in that area. So primarily their working area of the building, they would be either with the kids in our child care area or they would be with a clinician or in the group rooms in an office type building. You know, a lot of our clients have a lot of reservations about becoming sober. Some of them it's been so long since they've been sober that they are really uncomfortable about that. They've had a lot of traumas and other things that have happened in their life, and they don't know what it feels like to live otherwise, to live without those substances. And so what we're hoping is another level of non-judgment that people don't always exude, even though we try not to judge clients. Dogs don't give shame and they don't give judgment on people. And so we're hoping that people feel more comfortable in a residential setting like that, where they're able to talk about their substance use and the recovery process for them in front of a dog. You know, I think for me, I would really like to see some of our clients try and normalize the setting of rehabilitation as much as possible. Not necessarily all of our clients have had pets at home, but being around a working dog, I would like for them to just be more comfortable in a residential setting where it's not just a medical type setting, but it's something that makes them feel at ease like they are at home while they're getting treatment.
What kind of tasks would these dogs need to perform for you?
You know, the most thing that I can see is that they would really be emotional support. We have a lot of people, like I mentioned, that have experienced traumatic situations before. Some of them have physical disabilities as the reason why they've decided to use substances, because of physical pain. And so what I think in our setting is that we would have a working dog be a support for both types of people in our setting while they're talking about what happened to them as the reason why they may have started to use substances. So emotional support, like I said, and a lot of the group classes and individual sessions with a therapist
can be really emotionally taxing for some of our clients. And so we'd really like to have that extra support for them while they're going through that therapeutic process. So after I described some of that kind of environment there, what do you all think that the dogs would be able to do in that kind of setting? We have a classroom setting, you know, typical therapeutic setting where somebody's sitting on a couch and having a conversation with their therapist when they're having a hard time. What do you think that the dogs will actually be able to help me do?
Go ahead. Okay. Obviously, like, we train dogs to stay like calm and collected and not be like super frantic around a bunch of people. But something that we train dogs to do is something called a visit, which is where they put their head on parts of your legs or parts of your body just to help you calm yourself down, and that could definitely help.
Very good.
And then kind of going off what Nina was saying, just their presence is helpful. So having that pressure from the dog, whether it's a visit or a my lap, which is where they put their 2 feet on your legs, is going to be really helpful, I think, just because having that comforting presence going through something stressful is really incredible. And then also, dogs just cause so much positive emotion. No matter what they're doing, there's always a really positive feeling coming from them that they provide. So in such a really hard time going through those emotions and processing what's happening and what their past was and what they're going for now, I think that that's going to be really incredible.
Also, like, a lot of the time it's hard to, like, for these people to know that someone's really there for them and someone cares about them. But these dogs, they just know that they're there for them, and you know, like walking into a room and seeing them wag their tail and be happy, that means like, oh, someone cares about me, someone's happy that I'm here. And it gives you like purpose and meaning.
Yep. We hope so. We know that we can have up to 30 clients there in that living environment, and we don't think that one dog long term it'll be too much work for one dog, but we're going to try one at a time. The idea around recovery specifically in our environment, it's not just for somebody to get in their car and go and talk to their therapist. They actually are going to get in their car or have a friend take them over there, and they're going to live there for 30 days, or they're going to live there up to 90 days. So again, it's going to change their environment because it won't just be this sort of cold medical setting or a cold, residential setting where they've just got a dorm room down the hallway. It's going to make more of a homey feel for our clients.
Simone, come. Just hold your hand out. You already got that?
Good girl. Thank you. I suppose you want a treat for that. Let's sit. Let's sit. I'm going to take her away from you again. And hold on.
And then ask her to jump on again. And then tell her down. And I may take the leash away from her if she's being sassy. The first guide dog.
Henry, do you remember a dog named Honey? Dreamer, come. Leash. Leash. Get, no, leash. Yes.
You do whatever you want.
Go to bed. Down. Stay.
The Friendship Club, which is now in its 40th year, is a nonprofit here in Santa Fe that really what it amounts to is we've got meeting rooms where all sorts of 12-step programs are able to hold meetings in a really comfortable, welcoming environment. It's almost free to the people who rent the rooms and have the coffee and snacks. We try to have a friendly, inviting atmosphere for anyone who's in the recovery community here in northern New Mexico to come in and catch a meeting. We're open 7 days a week. Go to friendshipclubsantafe.org for the meeting schedule, and please come by and say hi.
Hi, my name is Lou, and welcome to Recovery Dharma. If you'd like more information about Recovery Dharma, go to our website, recoverydharma.org, or come to our Sunday night meeting from 5 to 6:30 at the Friendship Club, 1316 Apache Avenue. May you be at ease and happy.
A basic meditation. Sit in a comfortable but attentive posture, allowing your back to be straight but not rigid or stiff. Feel your head balanced on your shoulders. Allow your face and jaw to relax, with arms and hands resting in a comfortable position. Be attentive to what's happening within your own awareness, right here and right now, without judgment. As you sit, begin to notice the sensations of breath. Pay attention for a moment to how your abdomen moves on each in-breath and out-breath, the movement of air through your nostrils, the slight movement of your chest and shoulders. Find a spot on your body where the sensation of breathing is most vivid, whether it be your abdomen, your chest or your shoulders, or the movement of air through your nostrils. See how fully aware you can be of your whole cycle of breathing, recognizing that each part of the cycle is different from the other part. You will notice your attention shifting away from the breath from time to time. It's perfectly normal for thoughts to wander into fantasies, memories, worries, or things you need to do. When you noticed your mind has wandered, try to meet it with a spirit of friendliness. You don't need to do anything about it. There is nothing to fix. Rather than forcing it, just try to allow yourself to become curious about what it's like to be breathing right now. And you'll find that the attention is naturally drawn back to the physical sensations of breath as it moves through your body. Stay alert, relaxed, and above all, compassionate as you maintain awareness of where the mind goes. Each time you notice the mind has been distracted or has wandered, gently shift your awareness back to sensations of breath. Notice the tendency to want to control your breathing. Let the quality of attention be light and easy, one of simply observing and noticing. You don't need to control the duration, intensity, pace, or the pause between each breath. Just be present. As this meditation comes to an end, recognize that you spent this time intentionally aware of your moment-to-moment experience, building the capacity for opening the senses to the vividness, to the change, to the aliveness of the present moment, expanding your skill to be curious about and open to whatever presents itself without judgment. Then, whenever you're ready, allow your eyes to open and gently Bring your attention back to the space you're in.
Hi, my name is Courtney Kaiser, and I'm an intern counselor here at Santa Fe Recovery Center in the women's unit. And I'm in school for becoming an art therapist. So I do a lot of art therapy here with individual clients as well as in groups. And art therapy to me is really such a great way. It's a way to express our internal states without using words. Sometimes words get involved, but it's really a great way to express. And especially I think with individuals that struggle with substance use issues, it's not very good at accessing emotions, and I'm going to use we as the pronoun for that. But you know, we avoid our emotions by using. So by having a way to express them in a way that feels safe and contained and outside of us, instead of talking about them, we get to make art about them. It's a really powerful way for the clients to get to kind of see their internal state out here without having to, you know, fully experience it, because they're learning how to do that. They're learning how to feel their emotions and learning that it's safe to feel emotions. And I use it, you know, I don't obviously make every client do art. I kind of like feel the client out, ask if they're open to doing it, if it's an individual client of mine, and if they're open to it, I will typically give them little art homework assignments. One of my favorite ones is called What's Going On in Your Head? And you just draw a head shape and you just draw what's going on in your head. Not all clients like journaling, so this is a way for them to be able to check in with themselves on a daily basis or multiple times a day without having to journal. They could just make a quick image. And then I'll ask them to bring them back to session and we'll kind of review them together. And when we do that, it's not about me interpreting their art, you know, that's not really what the art therapist's job is, but it's to just ask the right questions to help the client kind of interpret their own art and discover things that maybe they didn't know that come through in the art, because I always tell them the art doesn't lie. So they'll be like, well, I don't know why I did that. I'm like, well, the art doesn't lie, and we'll get to explore it, you know, that way. So that's the work with the individual clients. And then I also run an art therapy group weekly. So it's an afternoon group that the clients come to, and you know, each week's different. I'm still having a lot of fun, you know, doing something new. I haven't done a lot of repeated groups yet. And I try to follow the theme of the week. You know, the rest of the groups, we try to stick with a theme so that we can hit, you know, from many different angles, you know, boundaries or codependency or whatever topic it's going to be. And then I try to tailor my art therapy group directive toward that theme. It doesn't always work out, but today we just did a fun one where they made an image of a time that they laughed really, really hard. And if they didn't have a time like that they could access, I asked them to make one up. What would make you just laugh so hard? And to have fun with it, use crayons, use markers. We didn't get really into the art part of it. And then I had them, they each had 2 minutes and they wrote a story about it. So they just wrote a sentence or two and then they passed it on to their partner, and then they received like a new image and a new story, and they added to the story, and it just created this sense of community. And then we explored, how does that relate to recovery? You know, the community element, the peer support, and then also perception. Like, we have different perceptions of things, and everyone does, and that's all filtered through life experience. And it was just a neat way, you know, I could have had a lecture on that and just talked about it, but it was a neat way for them to get to experience that. And there was a lot of laughter, and I think they had a lot of fun with it. Because another neat thing is when a client consistently shows up with their art homework, which is always lovely, you really get to see the progression of their internal state and how it's expressed. So I had a client, and it was her first week, I believe, and she made an image. The directive was an image of you know, your addiction and recovery. And she did this really beautiful tree, and the branches were recovery, and the roots were her addiction, and in the roots they were you know, twisted to say death, and then the branches said life. And if you looked really closely at the tree, really tiny, she wrote things that were important to her up in the branches. And we explored that, and we talked about that, and kind of, you know, she sort of came to this realization that, you know, she keeps her emotions very, you know, contained and not out towards others. Everything was written tiny in these tree branches. And then a few weeks later, it was a style of tree she really enjoyed creating. She made another one. And this tree was, you know, it just had 2 little tiny roots left, which according to her were, you know, the addiction. And then the top of the tree was so much more open, and the within the branches, you could really read what it said. There was no like hidden, you did not need a magnifying glass to get, you know, the image. It was really just this example to me of this client sort of blossoming in her recovery and feeling like she's getting her life back, just like a tree, you know, grows and continues to grow in that way.
Hi everybody, I'm Jackie Madsen. I am a student art therapist and counseling major here at Southwestern College. I came to art therapy late in life, and one of the driving factors is that I have been an artist since I was very young. And I found for myself that making art, being an artist and expressing myself through my artwork was very healing. Knowing the healing properties of making art and finding a different way of expressing yourself emotionally that art allows people to do was really the impetus for me finding Southwestern. I guess I kind of like to say Southwestern found me. And you don't have to be an artist to do art therapy. That's one of the common misconceptions. We get people from, you know, all walks that come in here to Tierra Nueva looking for counseling, and many of them are, you know, brave enough to try art therapy, and they really like it. So just all you need to do is be a little bit brave and take yourself somewhere that you've maybe never been before. And you will be pleasantly surprised, I think, at what you can do with art therapy and just what it brings to you.
Hey everyone, it's Sylvia Barella, Chief Executive Officer for the Santa Fe Recovery Center. Hope you're having a great time. I'm here today with David Lay to talk a little bit more about the Detox and Crisis Center that are part of the new La Sala building that we're in today.
I'm David Lay. I'm the Executive Director of New Mexico Solutions. We are the agency that was contracted by Santa Fe County a few years ago to operate the Crisis Center portion of La Sala. We have spent the past 4 years working with the county and with Sylvia and her team to develop what we have today, which is really an extraordinary partnership. The county several years ago decided that what we needed here in Santa Fe County was a place where people that were in crisis could get services immediately. And as we went around the country and talked to other folks running similar operations, they said that the number one thing that they wish they had known was how important it was to have a crisis center and a detox working together. So the amazing thing was that Santa Fe Recovery Center and Sylvia have been working hand in hand with Santa Fe County now for several years, and we were able to make that happen here. So when folks come into the Crisis Center here, when folks come into La Sala, they're walking into best practice. They're walking into absolutely state-of-the-art, where somebody that comes in can get assessed for their behavioral health needs, their psychosocial needs. They can get assistance to connect to things like housing, connect to things like benefits, identify if they need medication support, for instance. But if they are struggling with substance use issues, which many people are, we can also now turn to our partners in Santa Fe Recovery Center, collaborate and get them the quickest, most effective access to substance use recovery support that is possible. And for us here, that involves walking next door. Our staff here at La Sala, at the Crisis Center, we can pick up the phone or we can literally walk next door and we can say, hey, we've got a person over here that needs help. They walked in, they're asking us for support. What can we do? The really exciting thing is that Sylvia and I have spent the past several months, frankly, the past several years, developing a really extraordinary collaborative relationship. Our goal is to make it seamless. Our goal is to make it so that when somebody walks in the door here, they get the support they need, and it doesn't really matter whether it's New Mexico Solutions or Santa Fe Recovery Center that is working with them to help them. Our goal together is to make sure that they get the help they're here for, and they get to leave with support, with aftercare, with a plan, and also with the foundation that they can come back for assistance if they need it.
Yes, thank you so much, David. Absolutely well put. And the Santa Fe Recovery Center has been providing detox services since 2005 here in Santa Fe. And that has looked a little bit different in a number of respects and is now better than ever. And the county renovated this facility, and we moved in this summer and now have been able to expand detoxification services and have this really incredible partnership with New Mexico Solutions and the Crisis Center. So we now have, just across the way here, 27 beds for detoxification services, providing both social and medically monitored detoxification services for men and women. And the stays here are between 5 and 7 days typically. We can provide detoxification from most substances. And once people have completed their detoxification process, they can engage in longer term treatment services. The Santa Fe Recovery Center actually has a continuum of care that includes short and long-term residential treatment services, regular and intensive outpatient services, transitional living and recovery housing options. We provide medication-assisted treatment in all of our levels of care. And we have that full continuum for individuals who are in need of services. So when people present at the Crisis Center or come directly into detox services, we can provide that array. And we also have counseling and case management services for individuals while they're in detox, so that if longer-term treatment is not what they're interested in at the moment, then we can help them to access the services and resources that they are most interested in and in need of at the time. It's really been tremendous to partner with David and Solutions Treatment Center, with the county, with Christa St. Vincent's Hospital, with the Ancorum Foundation. Really, that joint partnership has been what is necessary to make this happen. And the feeling of the building and the experience that clients are going to have here was really a motivating factor. And this building is unrecognizable from the one in which we've provided detox services in the past.
And here in the Living Room Model Crisis Center, you'll have the opportunity to sit and talk with case managers, with nurses, with therapists, with peer support workers about what kind of needs you have in your life that have led to you feeling like you are in a crisis right now. Here at La Sala, you'll have the opportunity to sit down, maybe relax on one of our bean bags or sit next to our remarkable fireplace. Sometimes when folks come in and they're experiencing behavioral health crisis, one of the things that they actually need is just a quiet place to sit down, take a nap, to meditate maybe. We have nurses on site. We have a limited pharmacy so that we'll be able to help you get access to some of the medications that you might need. We have a laundry where if one of the things that you need is just to have some clean clothes, we're going to be able to help you with that. You can take a shower in privacy. We have a special entrance set up so that law enforcement and fire department can bring people in quickly and efficiently. One of the goals of La Sala is to help us avoid people ending up in the hospital or in the jail when all that they need is assistance in accessing behavioral health support. Here at La Sala, we are committed to helping you find solutions to life's problems.
So this is the living room area of our detox center. And this is our MedTech office here where our direct care staff are. And then along this side, we have our counseling offices, case management, MedTech supervisor. We have our little kitchen area here. We bring the meals in and then serve here in our little kitchen area. Okay. So we have a conference room, dining room, multi-purpose space here. So this is just really an incredible space. It's been an incredible space for our staff, for our clients. We're really happy to be here. The County of Santa Fe has created a wonderful website with resources and information about La Sala and the Detox Center and other resources available in the community. And that website is www.santafecounty.nm.gov. Really encourage you to go online and check that out.
My personal story, I was on my way to prison. I think that's when I hit rock bottom. Just felt like my life was over. So I did enter a program that helped me rebuild myself, taught me, kind of raised my self-esteem, gave me confidence. I was learning how to become accountable for my actions. And at the same time, I was actually a role model, just living there, teaching others, that it is possible. I definitely built my confidence where, there was more than life than just drugs, alcohol, living check to check. So I was able to kind of now with the CPSW, I'm able to be that role model with the men and women that I'm kind of supporting with the bridge houses. It definitely gave me that confidence to live, every day doing the right thing and, being a productive citizen,
Hi, my name's John. The recovery process is very difficult when you're in addiction, when you're in the survival mode. I'm telling my story to let everybody know that recovery is possible. Recovery is beautiful. I've struggled with alcoholism, drug addiction throughout my life. I started at a young age. I've gone through it throughout my life when I was 27. I've been through a lot of ups and downs, and I've gone through the 12-step process. This addiction is devastating, and it does harm everybody, family, friends. It is difficult to deal with. I am in the 12-step program, taking it one day at a time. It is possible to reach recovery. Now, I have a lived experience. I've been sober for 16 years. I am a certified peer recovery support worker. I use my lived experience to help provide a lot of trust to people who are still struggling. Help them know and understand that this addiction can be changed. It is possible for change, and it will happen. As long as you take it day by day, one day at a time, things are possible. Recovery is possible.
My name is Phil Mora, and I'm in recovery. I'm a heroin addict, and a little bit of my story. I thought my life as an addict was the only life that I could have, and I didn't realize that there was life in recovery, but then I found out that people can be happy without using drugs and alcohol. If I want to maintain the life I have or the benefits that recovery has given me, then I have to keep moving, and I have to keep working at it. That way I can continue to grow, so I'm really grateful that I was able to have a little bit of willingness. That way I could do the work, that it takes to be in recovery and share my story with others. That way I can help them as well.
I'm a woman in long-term recovery, and my story has many twists and turns. I got clean and sober on 7/17 of 2010, and what that looked like for me was a lot of jails, a lot of institutions, and there's a third thing that happens for people like us, and I'm so blessed to be sitting here today, being able to give back to a community of amazing peers and living a life beyond my wildest imagination. By all statistics, I shouldn't be able to even be above ground right now, but I thank my higher power. I thank the love of my peers before they were even called peer support workers that just had faith in me that I could do this. And if I watched them walk, then I could gain legs. I never thought that getting clean and sober and that my story would benefit anyone. You see, when you're a female and you're given the gift of life, and alcohol and drugs and whatever comes with that strips you of being a mom, there's got to be something really wrong. So I had to search really, really deep and swallow some big chunks of truth about militia. And I had to be willing to not be so angry because of the shame that I carried, because I could not be the mom that God intended me to be. And so my message to moms out there, especially moms that are incarcerated, is that you're not alone. And that together we can do this. And that my experience may help you not have your sons and daughters taken away. Because that was one of the hardest things, if not the hardest thing, that was taken from me because of my addiction.
I'm Lily, and I have been clean for 3.5 years. I was diagnosed with lupus in 2002, and with lupus comes a lot of physical pain and a lot of surgeries, and I was prescribed opiates to manage the pain. At the age of 25, I had my left knee replaced, and so I have a total knee replacement at 25. Pills came along with it, and I used for 10 years. Every single day for those 10 years, from the beginning of the surgery until July 5th of 2016, when I checked myself into rehab. And it's over like 3,700 days or so of every single day using. It had gotten to the point where even within the span of hours, I was already feeling the withdrawals. What led me to recovery was the unexpected passing of my husband. We had been together for those 10 years, and he passed away April 2nd of 2016. And I remember being in the hospital with him and taking massive amounts of pills and still hurting so badly. The pills just did not take the pain away like I wanted it. And it was to the point that I was not getting out of bed, and I was just spending my days in bed in grief, in a haze with the pills, and my children didn't know what happened. But I knew something needed to be done. I needed a change. So that night I got online, and I'm laying in my bed with my laptop open with my bottle of pills, and I'm looking for rehabs. And I ended up going to a rehab in California, and July 5th, 2016, my mom and I flew out, and from that day on, I've been clean. I was going to stay in treatment for 60 days, and then I got a call that my dad, who I had just seen like a couple of weeks before, had suffered a massive heart attack. And I left treatment early, and we ended up burying him on my 60th day clean. So I lose my husband, I check myself into rehab, and then I lose my dad. I connected with the 12-step program, and I've been very, very active in it, working on my recovery. I put my children into grief counseling. I've been in grief counseling. And last November, I was selected to be in a CPSW training, and I just got my certification about last month or a couple of weeks ago. And this CPSW certification, like, it's very near to my heart because it's so close to the grief that I've been dealing with in my recovery. Staying clean through this whole journey has been difficult because grief is such a complex emotion. It's so difficult to, like, have others understand that, like, grief doesn't mean that you have to numb yourself. Like, it's painful, but it does pass. And so I've been able to relay my story and show my emotions so freely towards others, and help them through the grief.
Esperanza Shelter is a domestic violence agency serving the Santa Fe community and 8 northern pueblos. We are an emergency shelter that provides services to domestic violence survivors, as well as counseling, legal services, and we also have a children's program that's called Seeds of Hope, and we also work with offenders through our Path to Peace program. Because of the new Senda Community Rewards, Esperanza Shelter was able to launch a new fund called Fondo de Esperanza y Apoyo, which means the Hope and Comfort Fund. The Fondo de Esperanza y Apoyo allowed us to help immigrant clients with paying rent, their mortgage payments, utility bills, food expenses. The amount of love that you could feel from the clients that we were helping was undeniable. It really was a rewarding experience. It was very rare to be a part of in I think in anybody's career. Yeah, every day, you know, it really just comes down to that hope and that aspiration, and I think the ability that what Esperanza has been able to do, and it's really saving lives at the end of the day, and really changing them, you know, for the better. And at the end of the day, our goal is that we're breaking that cycle of domestic abuse.
We are proud to support the Santa Fe Recovery Center and their efforts against substance abuse in northern New Mexico. For more information about our products and services, please visit guadalupecu.org today. Thank you and enjoy the rest of this virtual event.
Don't forget our tagline.
We're more than baking, we're family.
Hi, my name is Tom. I'm a member of Narcotics Anonymous. You can't see my face because we are anonymous. And I want to tell you about NA because we're a vital community resource. Resources and contacts. There's NA World Service. Again, we're a worldwide organization, and you can go to na.org and get tremendous amounts of information, and it's all free. If you go to riograndena.org, you get the events and meeting schedules that are in your local area and around the region. There's various public relations information at that P.O. box. And we have 24/7 hotlines. These are the numbers that are there. And of course, you can email me.
I have been in recovery for over a year. It has drastically changed my life. After I had been hospitalized a couple of times, that's where I met Shelby.
My name is Shelby McDaniel. I am a recovery support assistant, and I go into the ERs and I meet with members when they're in their crisis situation. I have been in recovery. I've experienced homelessness. I've been in and out of treatment centers myself. Really, I'm able to go in there and say, hey, you're not alone. We're gonna go through this together, and I'm not gonna give up on you.
All of the recovery support assistant team here at Blue Cross Blue Shield are certified peer support workers. That is a certification that's provided through the state of New Mexico. It is a nationwide movement, though.
If you were in the hospital or experiencing heart problems, who would you rather talk to? Somebody that's had heart problems or somebody that's never experienced that and never had any idea what that's like?
I think that whenever you're talking about peers coming in and supporting, many of us have that in common, that we were seeking emergency services. Sometimes because we needed to, other times because maybe there wasn't anywhere else to go or family didn't know what to do with us.
If they don't want us, we'll go away. We may call them again in a month and say, hey, have you thought any more about our help? And a lot of times they'll say, yeah, maybe I do need some help.
I was not willing to meet, but she did not give up. I had issues, finances, with work, family, everything. Eventually, I realized that this is something that I need.
I think it plants a little seed of hope that they know they're not gonna go through this alone, that they're gonna have people backing them up and helping them through things like finding a doctor, getting them linked to care coordination, going to support groups with them, going to doctor appointments with them, listening to them.
In the end, I know that the work that we do truly matters. We see it in our claims data, we hear it from our members, so we know that the work really does affect change.
Hi, and welcome. My name is Robin. I'm the Development and Communications Director at Las Cumbres Community Services, and I'll be narrating this brief overview of programming provided at Las Cumbres. Our services are provided in 4 counties: Santa Fe, Rio Arriba, Los Alamos, and Taos. If you'd like more information, you can reach Stacy Freimeyer, who is the Director of Community Youth and Caregiver Programs, or Linnea Moreno, Community Infant Programs and Early Childhood Programs. Their number and emails are listed here on the screen.
For over 30 years, the LifeLink has been providing vital services, care, and support to the people of Santa Fe and the surrounding areas. Some of these resources include supportive housing, comprehensive mental health care, and substance abuse treatment.
We want to reintroduce LifeLink to the community of Santa Fe, so we want to share some of our work and some of the people that we work with so that the community gets a better idea of who we are.
Hope, housing, and community.
Compassion,
courage, and success.
Well, back in 2010, I was homeless with my 3-year-old son. My father had passed away, and just kind of trying to figure out what to do and where to find some help here in Santa Fe. It was really amazing to me that somebody actually cared. It made me feel better, and it did give me that empowerment.
I'm finally getting the chance to see something, actually really come through and be dedicated to something and be a part of something, and which is an awesome feeling, definitely.
Since I've been at LifeLink, I've used the counseling services, case management. I've actually had periods where I've had to use utility assistance. So in all aspects of my life, taking care of me mentally, helping with housing so that I'm protected and my children are protected from the weather, and then mentally. And it's support, and I don't know, I'm just really grateful to the LifeLink.
The LifeLink offers a place for caring without compromise.
Productive.
Community connection.
Caring, healing.
Safety.
Frontline services.
It's very welcoming, very innovative in its programs.
LifeLink is a village of support for me, and I thank them for everything they've done.
I think if I summarized everything that works in this endeavor, and it looks very different for each individual, but I would summarize it by connection, and I would say that finding a recovery community that works for a person, that can support a person, and help them feel like they're moving forward in their life, and having good things that they can count on, and good friends that they can count on, those are the things that work. Getting the person from the state of active use and detoxing them and getting them all the tools that they learn in the 30-day and the refinement of skills in the 90-day, and then the reintegrating into the community to work and start paying bills and living a normal life, and really developing that long-term community that they can rely on. That's the key to the whole thing.
So for anybody that's on the path to recovery, we're here for you at the Santa Fe Recovery Center. Whenever you're ready for your own individual path, we're here to help you and support you in that. And anytime that you may have a life-changing event that's a catalyst for you to get you on your path to recovery, that's always a wake-up call. And that wake-up call needs to be 505-471-4985.
The biggest thing we want you to take away from today's festivities is that we honor our friends, family, and neighbors who are walking their recovery path, and we are here to support them with every step that they take. Thank you everyone who shared their experience, services, and talents with us today. And thanks to our planning committee, including Tom Stark, Chris Wendell, Natalie Cunningham, Deanne Roybal, Tom Becker, Michelle Williams, Bill Zunkel, and Ellen Klein. We hope you've learned something new and had some fun. Please join us again next year as we look forward to celebrating the 2022 Santa Fe Rally for Recovery. And in the meantime, please know we are always here for you, and we hope you will reach out to us at 505-471-4985 or stop by and say hello. Until next year.
Thank you.